Damian Boeselager, thank you for sitting down with the Schuman Show.
Thank you for having me.
So you are a member of European Parliament, here in the European Parliament. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your party?
So VOLT is a pan-European party, which is cool. We founded it 8 years ago with an Italian guy and a French woman. And the idea was, because Trump got elected for the first time, we were like, what do we do about it? And we thought, hey, we need to basically build a force against all these right-wing populist parties also rising in Europe at that time. I mean, Marine Le Pen was very strong back then already. You had Cinque Stelle, Lega Norte, AfD in Germany really taking off. The Brexit had just happened, and we thought we need a glue. We need something to bring Europeans together, and that can only work if we have actual European parties, and that's why we built one. The first one, yay!
How many MEPs does VOLT have?
5.
Five?
So we went from 1 in 2019 when I got elected for the first time out of Germany to 5. So a year ago we got 3 from Germany and 2 from the Netherlands. We also sit in 2 national parliaments in the Netherlands and in Cyprus. And we have around 300 local elected officials that do a lot of work locally. We have some local ministers and stuff like this. So it's really going quite well. 35,000 people.
Yeah.
So I'm happy.
Only 700 and something more seats to go, I guess.
So I don't think we want, a kind of a Chinese party kind of situation where there's only one party in parliament. But I think around 500 seats would be sufficient.
Around 500, just so that you have a majority that is undisputed.
Yes, that's completely fine.
Okay. And where does VOLT sit within the European Parliament? Where does a pan-European party sit?
So we went by exclusion. Far left is not our thing. Far right, Nazi thing is also not our thing. So the left, then basically the Social Democrats and the Conservatives, and they're a bit more old politics, so we didn't really feel too comfortable with them. And then that left, if you take these away, for us, basically the Greens and the Liberals to negotiate with where we sit. And we negotiated both times, so 5 years ago or 6 years ago and now 1 year ago. And both times the Greens made the better offer. So we sit with the Greens.
You didn't go there because you think that the planet should be saved? You went there because the Greens made you a better offer?
Look, we have our own identity.
Mother Earth is ashamed and disappointed right now.
Mother Earth loves good politics, I think, and we have very environmental politics. There's actually some statistics that we are greener than the Greens on many issues, but for us, it's also important to be innovation-friendly. So we have a innovation-friendly, climate-neutral economy as a focus. And I think there are some elements more there and more there. In the end, like, our dream would obviously be to have our own faction with people from across the continent with the same name, VOLT. And yeah, for me, that's really the vision that we're working towards.
Okay. Well, let me ask you some things about the transnational list, because the idea would be that eventually, when you get to your 500 MEPs, they could be voted on in different countries. How would that work during an election?
So our core idea is that people don't really know what's happening in the EU. You are helping with your show. Thanks.
We try our best.
But the biggest advertisement for any form of level of politics are elections. That's the moment when people are actually caring about what's happening. But at the moment, they care about what's happening with their national party.
Local,
or even regional. Yeah, like Manfred Weber, the most powerful parliamentarian of this house, who is a conservative leader. He comes from a regional party. He's elected by a regional party list in his region of Bavaria. That makes 0 sense. And so what we want is basically that you can vote for European parties. And they say, hey, I want to be more conservative. And that means, I don't know, stronger sanctions against Russia, more money for families. And if you vote for them, then you actually feel a more conservative Europe happening. So there needs to be this historic moment. Like, if you vote for Biden versus, Harris versus Trump, you see the difference. I mean, we have the madness now because people voted for Trump. So I don't want madness. That's why I don't want presidential system. But I think we should be able in Europe to vote for European parties, and then, like, history should change. And that's basically what the transnational list would enable.
You mentioned America a few times now. Are you into the idea of a United States of Europe?
Yes, I'd say it very simply, yes. I know that a lot of federalists are annoyed by that term, In the end, I really don't care about the term. And the reason I say yes is because people can picture a bit more what we mean when we say we want a European Union that works. Why is it completely different from the United States of America? Because I hate presidential systems. I think they really suck. Sorry, France, and sorry, US. But I think presidential systems where you have one figurehead is really bad. That's why I said earlier, parliamentary democracy. We want to vote for parties. And the second reason is, what does the US have? A lot of power on the federal level for foreign policy, as we can sadly see now, and some other powers. But a lot of powers less than the EU already has on the federal level. So I think what we need to do is we need to sit down and say, hey, what is it that we should decide on the European level? Okay, maybe, European army, we can see whatever it is. And then we should say, how do we want to decide on it? And currently we have a weird system of mixing parliament and like this medieval thing of people coming together, the heads of state, from 27 countries. And what we are saying is we can even decide if you want less on the European level, but it should be decided by a parliamentary democracy.
Well, it's a good thing because the whole United States of brand is a little bit ruined. So we're going to have to come up with something a little catchier.
Yes, but then try, like what do you put on a poster that somehow evokes that kind of emotional reaction of saying, they really want to change Europe. They want to reform it. And I'm a bit alone in my party. I think a lot of people hate the term United States of Europe. I think it provokes an emotional reaction, even when people say like, okay, I understand you want more, but it should be very different from the US.
But the question is, you want to have a United now? Is now the time to have anything that has a US connotation in it? What's next? You're going to make us call football soccer?
You asked me the question based on the United States of Europe. Why did you ask that? Oh, because it creates an emotional response. So in the end,
just not a very good one right now.
Yeah, and yes and no. Have you watched Hamilton?
Of course I've watched Hamilton.
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
Of course you have watched it. I'm
music.
very sorry for asking. It's an amazing show.
It is an amazing show.
Best show that I'm not even a big musical fan. I love it, and there's a Hamiltonian moment. It's like the moment of bringing everyone together. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I think we need some form of a Hamiltonian moment. We need to come together as Europe. And I'm really, fed up with people saying we need a wake-up call.
We've got so many wake-up calls, haven't we?
I'm wide awake.
You are wide awake.
I'm wide awake.
All right.
Yeah. And so I think...
how are you gonna not throw away your shot, Damian, and actually convince Europeans that federalism is the way to go? Because it is not exactly, like top priority right now, is it? I mean, we are going more in the direction of being more nation-focused, even when you look at what's happening on the global stage, no?
Yeah, it's very Mr. Burr of you. But
for those who don't understand the Mr. Burr reference, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that I'm cautious and waiting?
No, you're murdering the federalist idea.
I'm just asking. I am just a interviewer.
Yeah.
I am just asking you questions.
No,
defend your dream, please.
I was, of course, joking. I think I'm over being an observer of a trajectory that is shit. The trajectory, to be quite honest and frank, is not great. Yeah, I mean, the AfD last week was the biggest party in Germany, according to polls. The Sweden Democrats are governing in Sweden as part of the majority. Geert Wilders is in government. I mean, we have the
right-wingers are making their dreams come true, I have to say. They're doing a better job than the more moderates.
And this was apart from the great idea of building a federalist party and so on. For me, the second reason of getting politically active and founding VOLT was to bring people from the observer status of people who open their newspapers, nobody does that anymore, but who swipe through their news on their phone while sitting on a sofa, to get up and understand that they have power in democracy, and then basically it's on us to change it. So like the core thing of like all my blah blah at all events and also in this show is, let's stop observing a trend that we don't like and let's try to counteract it. And the right way to counteract it from my perspective is to get politically active in a political party. And this is what we are trying. So you asked me, how are we trying to fight for this vision? Yeah, by building a European party, by winning elections locally, regionally, nationally on the European level. And it's working. We are growing. We just need to be a bit faster in our growth.
Just a little, yeah. I think that if you do 5 MEPs for election, you're going to take a little while.
Like I said earlier, we need 500 MEPs.
Yeah.
It's a joke. I think, if we have 5% in each member state, our power is going to be immense in how we change the narrative of each of the national narratives, like our discourses. Like every party that enters with a 5% share of what's happening makes all the other parties react to it. And I really hope they steal our idea and push for Europe. I really hope that Merz, the new Chancellor of Germany, takes this European Union together with Macron and really brings it to the next level, because we need it. So for me, VOLT is always a tool, and I think we are getting there.
Well, time will tell.